Hello and welcome to the Pointless Distractions review podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Draper. With me,
Graham Bergeron.
And Scott Westerman.
All right, boys, it's our first movie review. You guys want to tell us what we just came back from seeing?
Yeah, we went to the Amazon Prime early screening of Superman.
So, Graham, before we get into the movies, did you see any previews of upcoming films that you want to see?
Oh, I mean, I was going to say my favorite part of the entire experience was definitely the third time they played the Tron Ares trailer.
Wait, what?
That's right, Scott. They showed it 3 times in a row.
3 times.
I got there right at 7 o'clock, and I was walking in, and they were just doing the little, cast introduction with James Gunn and everything. Thank you, we love making this movie. Here it is, blah, blah, blah. So
and then they played the Tron Ares.
No, we had no previews as far as I know.
Oh, so they played the Tron Ares trailer, then the screen went black for about 2 minutes, then they played the Tron Ares trailer again, then they did the cast intro.
Okay.
And then after the cast intro, they did the Tron Ares trailer a third time.
Wait, do you guys know Jared Leto's in that movie and the soundtrack is by Nine Inch Nails?
Unfortunately, I did.
Yeah, kind of drilled in your head after 3 times.
And
so does it look good?
No.
No, I'm sick of it now.
Oh, it looks terrible.
Okay. I feel like I've already seen the movie, huh?
But then they had 20 minutes of trailers after that, too.
Really? So what time did the movie actually start for you guys?
7:25.
So like a normal movie? Nope, I walked in at 7 o'clock and the intro was on and we made it to our seats. The movie started.
You know what? I'm disappointed though, because this is like a WB thing, and they didn't have the trailer for the Odyssey in front of it, which is only in theaters right now. I figured that we were going to see that, but no, we had to have Tron Ares 3 times.
All right, so what did you guys think of the beginning? How it just basically hashed it all over via text on the screen. I was glad we didn't have to, see the planet Krypton explode again. That was cool.
We didn't get a montage of baby Kal-El flying through space and being raised and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was just like, okay, here we go. You already know the story. Here's a superhero movie. You're going to enjoy it. You know who Superman is.
So what did it say? Metahumans had been on Earth for 300 years.
300 years, yeah.
And then heroes for Clark landed 3 decades previous.
Yeah, and then he's been Superman for 3 years.
Right.
And 3 weeks ago, the war in Baravia.
And then 3 minutes ago, he just got his butt kicked. And that's where it starts with the scene you've all seen in the previews where it comes crashing to the ice in Antarctica and gets rescued by Krypto, or dragged back to the fortress by Krypto.
Yeah, unfortunately, they had to show that whole scene months ago.
I know. I was like, okay, well, at least they're getting it out of the way. Everybody knows this scene already. It's not like they're spoiling anything because it's literally the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Well, they had to get it out there because Krypto is marketable.
Absolutely. Speaking of Krypto, what did you guys think of Krypto in this movie?
Overused.
It's fine.
Overused, really? I thought they used him just enough. He'd pop up. He wasn't on screen the whole time. He's just he'd pop up a little bit here and there, do his little cute little doggy thing.
Not enough to be cringy or to make me hate it. Just I knew going into it they were going to lean heavy.
I think they showed some restraint with it, which I appreciated.
Well, if we're not going to get into spoilers yet, there was one scene that I can talk about later with Krypto that kind of bothered me, but other than that, I thought he was fine.
Yeah, I have a point to make later too. I don't want to jump ahead of a character they used perfectly and didn't overexpose because I was waiting for it to happen. So Superman gets his ass kicked by the the Hammer of Baravia.
So are we going into spoiler territory here already?
Yeah. Warning, right. Spoilers.
Well, spoilers ahead, many ahead.
What were you guys' overall thoughts of the movie before we get into spoilers?
Well, I'm sure it'll come out in the conversation. There were things I really, really liked. There were some things that was I didn't like as much. But unlike a lot of recent superhero movies, there wasn't anything I outright hated. So I guess that's a positive.
I love how positive it was. That was just a feel-good movie, for once.
Yeah, I think the tone was pretty good. It got a little too humorous in a few spots, James Gunn's prone to do, but I thought the tone of it was perfect for a Superman movie. Well, Superman himself, the tone was perfect. The characters around him, maybe not so much, but you're going to have that when you have, everybody who's not the same character.
I'm glad he didn't put. Sorry, real quick. He didn't put too many 70s classic rock hits mixed through it. To be Guardians. Thank freaking God.
Yeah, I think the one needle drop scene was well done. So watching the movie, there was something bothering me, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And it wasn't until the drive home that I realized that this is the best Superman 2 ever made. I feel like there was a movie missing.
Well, so you want the origin movie again?
No, not
More Bradley Cooper, goddammit.
Not necessarily the origin, but like, I don't know. I feel like there should be a Superman story before it goes full, like, he got his ass kicked, Lex Luthor is on his, like, revenge path. Why, like, we don't know why has this hate boner for Superman. Like, I feel like
He's just jealous, bro.
Yeah, he had his little monologue at the end there.
I don't know. I just feel like there's stuff I would have liked to see prior to this movie. It bothered me a little that the movie just started with Superman getting his ass kicked and continued with Superman getting his ass kicked until the last, like, 20 minutes.
I don't know. I like seeing his ass get kicked. It would be no fun if it was just him.
Bulldozing
That's
people.
the point of Superman, though.
Well, he bulldozed a lot of people in this movie, though. I mean, he was weakened initially by getting his ass kicked by, the big bad at first. And so he was pretty much recovering throughout the whole movie, so he was never really at full strength. But he was bulldozing the regular guys like they were nothing.
Man, I'd hope so.
Yeah, and even the big kaiju monster thing, he was holding his own against it. Because that was one of the things I really liked, and they did that well in the Avengers too, was how Superman was always looking out for the civilians and trying to limit casualties as much as possible, and basically had no casualties except for, things that probably happened off screen you didn't see, but when he was on screen, he was constantly saving people.
Well, of course,
Even
they
little squirrels.
evacuated Metropolis and had to show that, just like in, was it Batman versus Superman, where they, like, take the action away from the city just so they can be like, oh, no one died, thank God. Everybody got out and evacuated this fucking mega city in 20 minutes.
Well, there were no civilians that died on screen other than through direct action of bad guys where Superman could not do it.
65,000 off screen, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably, but
Good thing every single building's empty.
that was a good thing with the special effects of the city getting ruined. I was like, holy crap, a lot of that looked pretty real. I was impressed by the special effects on that part.
I did have one note. What's with all the unaccompanied children in Metropolis? There's just kids everywhere by themselves, like 8-year-olds standing in the middle of the action. Where are the parents at?
They ran.
That was a city park.
Okay, if that shit started happening, you want to grab your kids and run off. Your son would just be standing next to a fountain. You're like, yeah, I'm over here.
There was a stampede. They couldn't get to the kids.
They got the kid in the middle of the freaking the war zone where they're getting invaded. Yeah, the kids are holding their ground, but all the adults with the AKs are running. Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, I
Gotta hold that flag up.
I liked the one scene where they were panning over the crowd of like farmers and stuff with their fake weapons, and there was just one person holding
With the cinder block?
yes, the clearly
Half of them
foamed-
had assault rifles. The other guy's got like a pitchfork.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then
like-
there's one guy with a clearly foamed cinder block just held
That was awesome.
like comically above his head.
Yeah, that really stood out. I saw that and I chuckled. I was like, that was awesome.
Don't worry, the children will be the first wave of attack. Send them out.
Yeah. Yeah, why are the kids there in the first place? Like, I'll bring our kids to the front lines. But what'd you think of the casting in general?
Superman, what's his name? David Cornswet. That was on point. I give
I
it a
thought he
10
was
out of
good.
10.
I think
I
everyone
thought he was really good.
did well.
I really liked the lady who played Lois Lane. I thought she's the best Lois Lane we've seen for a long time.
Is this
Lex
the only
Luthor,
movie so
Nicholas
far
Hoult-
we haven't seen Lois Lane flying with Superman? They kind of hovered, but
Yeah. Nicholas Holt as Lex Luthor, I think, was a little, I don't know, he seemed just too young. He wasn't powerful enough to really be the big guy in charge who everybody fears and everything. I mean, they did, but it was more like, oh, he's got a bad temper and we know he'll fire us or put us in a dungeon somewhere.
Pocket
But
Universe.
he just didn't really have the screen presence that I think a guy playing Lex Luthor really needs for a big
What if he
movie
was
like
wearing
this.
a red wig?
What if
Sure.
he was like Luthor from like the Death of Superman era with like the long red hair and the big
The long
beard?
red hair, yeah.
Yeah.
The Superman, the
Isn't
Lex
that-
Luthor clone.
wasn't that-
Alexander Luthor?
Yeah, wasn't that from like a parallel Earth or something?
No, he was a clone.
Now,
He
okay,
was dating like Supergirl and she was a freaking
Matrix.
yeah.
So the pocket dimension thing was probably my biggest issue with the movie, I think. I think it's kind of my issue with most of these superheroes movies is they always got to make something. I get they're spending lots of money in their summer blockbusters, but they want to have bigger and bigger and bigger spectacle and crazy, crazy locations and huge fights and all this. It's just like, can we just tell a straightforward Superman story instead of having? It's got to be another world-ending event. It's got to be another freaking crazy, overly done super science thing. It's like, come on, man. I mean, you're going to get some of that stuff with Lex Luthor and comic movies in general, but it seems like the movies just always are trying to one up each other with the spectacle, and it's just like I just want things to kind of calm down a little bit.
No, I get what you're saying. Can we get into spoilers now?
I think we've already spoiled a lot, but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. I wasn't holding back. I just didn't. Boil away.
The thing that bothered me the most was Ultraman.
Okay.
Really, that's the
That
thing
wasn't a surprise for any of you,
that's
right?
the
I'm
thing
hoping
that made it feel like a movie too. Like, it seemed really weird to me that before the two of them had even met face to face, Luthor had cloned him.
I was
Like,
hoping that would be Bizarro or turn
Yeah,
into Bizarro by the end of the
it
movie.
just that was one of the things that was just like, that's too much for me.
Now, wasn't that just supposed to be a callback to Superman 4 where they get a piece of his hair and then make, what's his name, Nuclear Man or whatever?
Well, I mean,
Nuclear Man.
Lex Luthor clones Superman all the time. Like, that's what Superboy is. That's what some versions of Bizarro is.
Didn't originally in Superman 4, like, it was, I don't know if it was cut out or never filmed or they didn't have the money, but he was going to fight a clone of himself and then Nuclear Man after the fact? I could swear I read that somewhere.
I don't know. I tried to
But
put Superman 4 out of my memory.
Like,
and 3.
that doesn't, it doesn't seem like it should be Lex Luthor's initial plan to beat Superman. That seems like a revenge plan. Like, oh, Superman beat me last time, so now I'm gonna create a clone of him that's even more powerful and use that against him. It seemed too early for I created a clone of you. And they just brush over it. They don't explain.
Like, oh, yeah.
Like, he doesn't have labs where the clone was made or anything. They just brush over it. Oh, it's like, yeah, of course I have a clone.
I think the question is, why didn't he make more than one?
Right. Yeah, maybe he couldn't control more than one.
We'd have no movie, obviously, but
That was, I guess, since we're in the gripe section of the review, I think my biggest gripe with it was probably just how things moved along a little too quickly. Like, okay, Lex Luthor breaks in. Okay, they break into the Fortress of Solitude. They get the information. They find the scrambled or the supposedly lost recording, and they finish it off. And it's just like, oh, we translated it, and Superman's supposed to be here to be a conqueror, blah, blah, blah. And they just throw it out there, and everybody's like, okay, well, we believe it because Lex Luthor said so. And he said, well, the experts said it was that, so okay. I thought by the end of the show they were going to be like, no, that Lex faked it, or they did a deep fake or something like that. Instead, they just say, no, the Kryptonians wanted to colonize Earth and take over.
didn't they make a point to say that it couldn't be faked, like Mr. Terrific, like, no, we're computer expert. I mean, they were trying to drill that home immediately.
It's like, yeah, but this is Lex Luthor who's cloning people and making his own boom tubes and pocket dimensions and stuff. It's like, you don't think he can make a really good AI fake tape? Like, come on. But yeah, so I didn't really like the change to that where he came here under nefarious purposes unknowingly.
I mean,
of course,
I think that's an interesting twist on Superman's origin. I wish that it had more time to like breathe.
Yeah. But then also when Jimmy Olsen, who I thought they cast perfectly, he was great in this. And he goes in and he and Lois put together the story that, oh, we found out that Lex Luthor is behind this, and he started the war and he's doing this and blah blah blah, this, that, and the other thing, and they just kind of, all right, we'll publish it online real quick, and then immediately, like 5 minutes later, every freaking television station is broadcasting that Lex Luthor is a traitorous criminal and all this. It's like, so they put something out online and there's no vetting it. There's no checking the sources. There's no verifying this and that and the other thing.
Oh, that's probably the most believable thing in the movie.
I was just like, come on. But yeah, things just kind of hopped along a little too quickly like that. But
I love that they made
fine.
Jimmy Olsen like a complete pussy magnet for some reason.
Yeah, that was great.
I feel like that fits his character so well. But
Because
he
even
just doesn't,
before
like, but he just doesn't want any of them.
yeah, you
like
see
that?
like the interns at the Daily
They're like,
Planet, like, oh my
he's
god,
so
it's Jim,
hot.
like these two like hot chicks. He's just like brushing it off, like.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were swooning over Clark or Jimmy in that. And I was like, I think
It
they were
was
swooning
Jimmy.
over Jimmy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure if I had just tens all like after me all day, I'd just be like, oh no, I got to get this news story out. Like, fuck that.
But yeah, I thought he was good. I thought, okay, the one, Mr. Terrific, the guy that played him was good, but I thought he was a little like too rough around the edges. I mean, I know Mr. Terrific is kind of a emotionalist most of the time, but he just seemed like a little too gruff, I guess. I don't know. There was just something a little off about him. It's like the design was good, and he was a badass. I mean, he had the same powers and stuff in the comics and everything. He was just awesome. But I don't know. For some reason, the guy's portrayal was a little too gruff for me, I think.
A little too
I'd like to see him
stern.
a little.
Well, that's why they got Guy Gardner in there.
Yeah, he was great. I was always kind of hoping they'd get Nathan Fillion to play like, Hal Jordan instead of Guy Gardner, but he killed it as Guy Gardner too.
What
But
about Hot Girl?
what did she
Girl
do
is-
besides scream very annoyingly?
Yeah, the Hawk scream was really annoying that they did that. I was like, Okay, that's an interesting take, but I mean,
I-
she was tough. She beat the crap out of things with her mace pretty well, but I mean, that's what Hawk Girl does. She flies and she beats things with her mace.
I feel like they could have taken her out of the movie to give everyone else like 30 seconds more screen time, and nothing would change.
She was pretty super.
What'd you think of that kaiju though? That was kind of the moment that kind of took me out. It looked like something from like Ben 10 or something.
Yeah, that was strange the way they're just like, okay, here's our distraction. It's like we delete this.
Yeah.
little
Oh, don't worry,
creature,
he's
and then
gonna grow. Like
He's gonna grow,
why?
and then
like
all
what's
of
he
a sudden
doing?
he's
Is it, he
the size of a
eats when he
building.
grows. He just grows
Yeah.
with time. Don't worry, you don't need to know.
Yeah, I wish they had a better explanation of what that was, but they didn't really need it. It's a monster that Superman's going to fight. Here you go.
I was taken out by how like nonchalantly they just murdered it, and how Superman was upset by it at the time, and then it's
He didn't
just
really call him
never,
out on it,
it's
though.
just never brought up again. Like
Yeah, he
that's
didn't really-
again, that's another like interesting philosophical debate that could have been its own movie plot. And instead, they just introduced it and then left it in like a 5-minute span.
I want to know the logistics, how they like removed his body. Because that would have taken months. That would have been like a 9/11 cleanup operation there, like a rotting kaiju corpse.
Explosives and chainsaws. I don't know.
Not to jump too ahead, but when Hawk Girl basically murders the president of Baravia or whatever that guy.
Yeah, I was like, ooh,
Just-
okay.
I was like, what?
I mean, it's the only
Yeah,
thing she did in the movie.
They didn't really have a lot of the Justice Gang didn't really have a lot of trouble murdering people.
It's like, oh yeah,
Especially when they got
so
over there.
what? Superman put him against a cactus, made him uncomfortable, and this girl just drops him out of the fucking sky,
Yeah,
murders
There you go.
him essentially.
Which you'd think, being like a corporate superhero team, they would be more concerned with collateral damage and not murdering people.
you would think. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of suspension of disbelief, but it's a freaking Superman movie, you know. The other person I didn't. I saw the previews. I didn't know who the heck the character is supposed to be. I didn't realize that the girl with all the nanites and everything was the engineer from the Authority. I was like, oh, okay, because I hadn't really looked at the cast and crew beforehand, so I didn't realize that she was the engineer. So I was okay. So I assume that that's going to be the link to the Authority movie when they come out. I guess she's going to reform a bit, or reform just enough to be sort of on the good guy's side.
I feel like that was set up enough. Like, I feel like they gave her enough reason.
They made sure to point out that she wasn't dead too.
Yeah.
Not dead. She's just unconscious. Never hear from her again.
Yeah, I don't really like her as just like an anti-Superman, like zealot kind of thing, though. I don't know. But yeah, she was badass, so she'll probably fit in well with the Authority movie. The other one they set up was Supergirl at the end, and I'm like, I hate that rendition of Superman, the stupid Tom King. She's a drunk party girl, Supergirl. Like, no, nah.
Maybe that will be the only like drunken scene is that part.
I didn't read that run, so I don't really know.
That's the next movie in the new DCU lineup, correct?
I think so.
What do you guys think of Metamorpho?
His look was a little off, but he was cool. I liked him.
I wasn't expecting him to be goofy.
I wasn't expecting him to be that much in the movie.
I like the internal conflict that he had when that guy was murdered.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't expecting him to be like silly.
Yeah, he's had phases where he's been a little silly like that.
And do you know that actor that plays him? I think it's Anthony Carrigan, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if you guys ever watched Barry on HBO, but he was in that as this like Chechnyan Russian mobster, and he has like alopecia in real life.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, this
It's
isn't
like
his
the
first.
best part of that show.
This isn't his first DC role either.
Wait,
Really?
who was he?
He was Victor Zsasz in Gotham.
No way.
Yeah.
That's the guy that played Zaz? Okay.
Yeah.
Did not realize that. Oh, yeah. Seen him out of the makeup. Yeah, that's definitely him. The guy's creepy.
All right, let me get to my point I made a few minutes ago about something I'm glad they didn't overuse because they leaked it in the merch and everyone's like, oh my god.
Oh, my
Baby
gosh.
Joey.
Yes. We got to talk about Baby Joey.
So I was thinking for sure Baby Joey would be in the whole second half of the movie, and he'd basically be the new Baby Yoda, Grogu, in
Right.
your face merchandise.
like they're
everyone
making-
fucking has to love it. Can't
They're
talk
making
shit about
action
it.
figures of this guy. Like,
And then he was barely in it, thank God.
Yeah, he was more of a prop than a character. It's just
Yeah,
like-
Just to explain it real quick, I think you mentioned it. It was Metamorpho's son, and they were holding the baby captive, so he would do Luther's bidding, essentially, which is what recreate any element.
yeah. So he was there to make the kryptonite to hurt Superman.
Whole job was to sit in a cell and create kryptonite just to hold Superman there.
I don't like the trope of like someone is in a fight and they're like
Holding a baby.
protecting an infant. Like that child would have died.
Oh, yeah.
And luckily it's not human, so they can just be like, oh, can't have its head snapped back during all that. Real quick, what was with the cutaway of Metamorpho and holding his baby with just some blonde woman, some apartment? Was that like a setup? Like, was that
I
the
mean,
mother?
I
Yeah,
Did
that
he
I would
find that
assume
woman
was
after
the-
he escaped?
Yeah, I was just saying, look, he got away. He's living his, living his best life. He made it back to his family. Everything's good. And then it's like,
I
so he
didn't know
can
if
come
that
Then
was
he
again.
just
sees, but then he sees the
prostitute he found or
news.
something.
Yeah, so I mean, overall, like I said, it was kind of up and down. There were things I really, really liked, and things that were like we just discussed that were just kind of turned me off a little bit. But the things I really did like is I thought they got. I was surprised how well James Gunn actually got the character of Superman, being the optimistic Boy Scout, but still, not being a doofus about it, just being an all-around good guy, basically.
Yeah, he was just enough of a nerd. You're just like, what a fucking. But like, you wish he was your best friend.
Right. The mom and pa Kent scenes were great. They really got the tone of those.
That's what I was going to ask you about because I thought I was worried about this too, and it confirms that they're a little too. What would be the term? A little podunk, a little.
Yeah, they were more podunk
I feel
than
like
I
they're
expected them to be.
1940s like hayseeds, like like country bumpkins.
Well, but they were.
Like his mom is not from this century.
Yeah, his mom's not from the century, but his dad seemed like a pretty.
Like Clark,
Well,
you're on the
fleshed out
box.
character.
Like who would say
Yeah.
that? Let's say she's 60.
But the important part of that was that they really got the emotional parts of it correct. The emotional scenes they wanted you to feel certain emotions, they nailed that with Mom Pa Kent and with Lois Lane. I thought they did that really, really well. Like I said, the tone of the movie is for the most part is really great. It's got good highs, it's got good lows, it's got the emotional roller coaster you go on is it takes you along the ride the way they want you to. It's perfect for that.
I was worried with it being a James Gunn movie. There was going to be too much of like the comedy undercuts. And I feel like there was only one time where that went too far. And that was what I was talking about with Crypto. And it was at the very end when Lex Luthor was giving his like emotional speech and then Crypto just comes out and attacks him. I felt that was so unnecessary.
It was like Hulk and Loki all over again.
That
Fuck
was
you! I was just gonna say that. I swear to God.
that was the
Damn
one. That was the one moment in the whole movie that I did not like.
Yeah, he would totally be dead or paralyzed, minimum.
Yeah, he got worked over pretty good. But yeah, overall, I mean, there's a few things to nitpick, but overall, I thought it was a really entertaining movie. I enjoyed it for the most part. Again, it's like I don't need the world. The city's gonna be destroyed. Like, oh, come on, again. Why do we have to do this every time? We didn't need them to destroy the city. Whatever.
On the car ride back, I was asking Jen. I was like, like when Lois takes the T sphere, or whatever the hell it's called, and like Perry White's like, "Come on, guys, why do they all need to fucking get in that thing? Like all six of them. Outside of it's funny. Like why
Well, they're
is
escaping the building.
But why is it Cat Grant there? I don't know. I just felt like it made
I don't
no
know.
sense.
If only
I don't
there
know.
was a first movie that established all of those characters.
Yeah, I was surprised to see Cat Grant and
How many people are gonna know who that is?
Steve
that, like-
Lombard.
Yeah, who was the guy that was the sports? Isn't he like the sports reporter or something?
Yeah.
He's always like riding everybody's balls.
The dude who played Perry White, I don't know the guy's name, but he was awesome in the Jack Ryan Amazon show
Oh, was he? He's not nice.
as Admiral Greer or whatever before he's an admiral. But we won't get into that. The James Earl Jones character, he was like a younger version.
Oh, okay. Wendell Pierce.
I mean, I feel like I talked a lot of shit, but I will say that, like, overall, I did really enjoy the movie. I just feel like there was just stuff that wasn't, like, set up properly for me. Like, I imagine, like, I wouldn't be able to take, like, my wife or my son to see this movie because they just wouldn't know or care about these characters in a way
I've been
that,
leaning
like,
on the care part.
well, that like we do, like we know Lex Luthor's motivation and his decades of history with Superman, but if you're just going in not knowing anything about Superman, why would you care that Lex Luthor doesn't like him?
I don't know. I think
Yeah,
they
it-
laid it out enough, but it's not.
Yeah, I
the
think
movie's
you
not
explained
that.
it well enough at the end.
It's not like that deep, but I mean, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that we don't need to see Superman's origin again. I just feel like there's still stuff that should have been better established.
Well, I think that's kind of exactly what they're going for, is saying that this universe has already been established. This is like a middle episode of something that's an ongoing story. Although a
Yep.
lot happened in it.
Are they just taking a cue from the latest Batman, where it's just like, oh, he's been Batman for a couple of years. You don't need to show his parents getting killed. Just start it up.
I don't know, maybe.
Even though that is not from that universe.
Yeah. Oh, going back to the how things happen too fast. It was like how quickly the people turned on Superman, just like immediately.
Yeah,
like,
one fucking video comes out, like, fuck
one video comes out,
you.
fuck you, you suck, we hate you, blah blah blah. It's like, wow, that
Again,
was
that
quick.
seems entirely believable.
I still don't believe people would be throwing fucking bricks at him. Like, suddenly,
Yeah.
like, wait, he's here to conquer and destroy us? Let's
I'm gonna
throw a
throw-
brick at him now that we know that. That makes
I'm gonna
sense.
throw a can of soup at the back of his head. Like, wait,
People
what?
are very stupid.
That's true. But they say you don't tug on Superman's cape, right? I don't know. Overall, positive feelings towards the movie. I think I'd like to see it again just to kind of, soak it all in again, because I was trying to remember stuff and didn't really get to enjoy it as much as I normally would. I was just kind of like, I gotta remember this, I gotta remember that, I gotta remember this, but because I know you'd be talking about it. But it's definitely worth seeing again.
Probably definitely want to see it again.
Yeah, and it has me excited for the movies going forward. It feels so. All right, I have the analogy, I think, in my
Okay.
brain that it feels like a new run of a comic series where like it's technically a fresh start and like a jumping on point, but there's always going to be stuff that like that issue doesn't explain because there's decades of previous, like they're trying to make it as accessible as possible, but they can't fit everything in.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it feels like to me.
Well, that's exactly what it is too. I mean, this is what the
new
third or fourth
52.
go with Superman.
No, but the New 52 is origin stories.
Yeah. What was after New 52?
Rebirth.
Which is based like, all the stuff we screwed up in New 52. Let's go back to the old stuff that people liked.
Oh, but keep the good stuff from New
Keep
52
the
had
stuff we
some-
like.
Oh,
I know. We should-
I just got yelled at from my wife who heard me say that she doesn't know anything about Superman. So
Uh-oh.
I need to formally apologize.
Blue and red, goddammit.
He wears his trunks on the outside.
Yeah, she should have come and probably like have her give the review.
Well, if I take her to see it, I'll have her come on for a segment where she can do a mini review.
So
Should we come up with a rating and then do like our pointless distractions rating if we can all like agree on something?
I don't know. It's kind of a mixed bag because there is stuff that I was just kind of like, oh, here we go again. It's another generic superhero movie. But then I thought they got the tone right. I thought they got the emotional stuff right. I really like the casting and the characters. I mean, I'd say it's overall much more positive than negative for me.
Well, if you were to do 1 out of 10 and it can be 0.5s, I'll start it out. I'm gonna give it an 8.5.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty high. I'm wavering between like a 7.5 and an 8. I thought it was really good. I'll give it an 8, sure. A 4 out of 5 or a 8 out of 10, sure.
Here we go. Graham's gonna sink it.
I do
What do we
think
got?
I do think I am gonna go slightly lower at like a 7 out of 10.
And you're an 8. Okay. Well, 7.5. There we go. Can we
Yeah, I'd
agree
say
on
that's
that?
fair.
Pointless distraction. Superman 2025. 7.5.
Initial impressions, I think it's a good start to the James Gunn new DC EU or whatever they're calling it. I have positive vibes for the upcoming movies now.
I'm very hopeful.
The thing that gets me the most hopeful is that this movie leans so heavily into the comics. I need them to not make Robert Pattinson the permanent DCU Batman because I need comic book Batman.
There's no way they're doing that.
I need, like, Ben Affleck was close. He was like more Arkham Asylum, Arkham City video game Batman. I need comic book Batman in a movie. And I feel like we've never gotten that.
Let's hope they speed it up and do like early Marvel. I'm not saying rush movies out, but let's not wait 5 years for Superman 2, like 3.5, 4 years for, was it the Brave and the Bold?
All right, so I'd say that's pretty positive review. I think we gave it pretty high scores.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Oh, Peacemaker cameo.
Yeah, that was great.
I didn't know that was going to happen, but like I knew that was going to happen.
I wasn't expecting it at all.
You were hoping it was going to happen. I think you mentioned it briefly
Yeah.
before
I
we
was
were
like,
talking.
possibly, maybe.
Yeah, when he popped up, I was like, that's awesome. Especially the way they did it. It wasn't like an action scene.
He practically filmed them back to back, right? So I'm pretty sure he's just like, yo, I need to film this clip real quick.
All right, well, I would say go see Superman in theaters. Comes out probably tomorrow when this comes out.
July 11th.
And
Oh,
keep
yes.
it pointless.
Keep it pointless.
Keep it pointless.